Welcome to the Total Woman Show. I am so excited today. But the first thing that I always say on the Total Woman Show, the question I ask is, have you had your man? Total Woman is all about that. But today, this broadcast is in memory of my sister, Carolyn and Tyson Colbert. But her son, Gervase, is launching his book today on this show. So we're going to start now we're going to do some tagging. We're in, and a lot of times people will just start coming in. But Boz, I just want to welcome you to the show. I'm excited about your book. It's a beautiful book. It's a powerful book. And we're just going to try to, just go in and discuss it today.
I appreciate it.
So how are you feeling now?
I feel great. This book was kind of, it was a lot of things that I had to get off my chest, a lot of things that I wanted to speak about, and people probably get tired of you talking about it or whatever. So you put it on paper, people tend to listen a little more, and it makes it more real for me. I figured once I put my feelings towards life on paper and what I did to get through those, that maybe it could help somebody else. And it actually made it real, and I don't have to go there anymore. I can look at the book and just be inspired.
Yes. What was your favorite part about writing this book?
My favorite part about writing this book was realizing all the different mistakes or whatever that aren't really mistakes that people make, but just learning how not to dwell on things that I went through, and just being unapologetic about life, period. And the research that I did about the Eagles, that really, threw me off, how close they are to us as humans, and how easy it was to compare. So I love that, the wildlife anyway.
Yes. And I think that was the realest part of it, is learning about the eagle, watching you research, because a lot of times people write books and they don't do any research. And I'm going to let Ryan Gervase L step in right here. He is the founder of Black Fathers Rock. And what's the name of your book, Ryan?
It's called Fashion and Fatherhood.
Yeah, so you know what it's like to write these books, and once you write it and you put it out there, you can't take it back. And sometimes people can read the book and not have an understanding of what they read and take it the wrong way. So when you read Vaz's book, just give me a little review of maybe one thing that really stuck out to you.
It's funny how I've known Vaz probably since I was 12, and I don't think I knew how similar we were when it comes to being academically gifted, but a social outcast to a degree, or weird. It's funny. I read about the phoenix, and my last tattoo, you can see weird. Is a phoenix, because I've had a very rough year, and out of the ashes, I'm growing, right? And so it really touched me when you talked about. I mean, I've been highlighting the book, right? So. One thing, and I want to read this from this part directly because I want to quote you. It says, people will try to categorize you or put you in a small box if you let them. We can't control the opinions of others, but we can control the label that goes on that box. And so it's not necessarily what you're called, but what you answer to and what you respond to. And so for me, and that was in the very beginning of the book. So if y'all don't have the book, just go ahead and order the book now, because it's a great read. But there are so many principles that you talked about, the molting piece regarding the eagle and the shedding. And, we're going through a pandemic right now. So a lot of people have had to shed some things. I've had to shed a lot of things that I was doing. I've had to slow down a little bit. And so it really hit home how close we are to each other in relation to the kind of people that we are. And so being an eagle myself, and kind of, having this vision and seeing it at an altitude that others can't always see. but you can't let them control how you operate because they can't see it, because God gave you the vision. And so it doesn't matter what they think. If he gives you a vision, he will also give you provision. And so I look at this book as part of the provision for your healing, for the future. And I believe it's going to touch many lives.
Thank you.
Wow. You know, we have Vase's parents here, the Sewells. What do you think about the book? Are they frozen?
They might be frozen.
So it's okay because it freezes like that. So what we're going to do is, Alicia, when you read the book, just give us some review on some of the things that you read.
Oh my goodness. Bob is my cousin. But being raised together the way we are, he's like a brother. Like Boz is no different than Debo. He is no different than Derek to me. Like no different. And reading this book and knowing who the author is and literally remembering some of the times that he's talking about and having a personal relationship with the great eagle he references, I went through so many emotions. Like I came from, oh my God, these are heavy words, to, oh my God, I know this great eagle, to Voz is every bit of who he say he is. The life that Voz has put on paper in this book. I told my mama, I said, where is the rest? I'm looking for more. Where's the workbook? He needs Voz.
That's what I was.
When you said I have a stronghold, I read that to say I have the recipe. I've lived the life. I have the experience to help everybody else write their way out of some stronghold. Like if I didn't know Voz, I would be looking for the next book. Like when are you coming? Where's the next one? Because you dropped some heavy words. You dropped gems, some diamonds. Like you brought the eagle to life with who you are and marrying that with who. Yes, her name is Carolyn Ann Tyson Colbert, but she is Kernan to me, has always been Kernan, and I only know her as Kernan. So Kernan. So it was an awe. Like you tapped my emotions. You tapped something in me and certain things that I had an ugly cry that I had to put the book down because I had somewhere to go and I didn't want my face tore up for another 20 minutes in the car. I had to put it down and I picked it back up and read it straight through again, and then picked it back up and started re-highlighting everything that I wanted to take out this book. Right. So when my mama say talk about it, I was like, what part? Because the highlights I got in this book go from the front to the cover. But the one thing I will say is when you said you do have the anointing to write your way out of a stronghold, you made it clear on several things, especially the tap and go, how to refresh, how to reset. I would say, tell me, Voz, show me. I'm not a writer. I'm a talker, but I'm not a writer. I don't know how to write my thoughts out. I can talk my thought out, but I don't know how to write that. And a lot of times people talk to me and say, ooh, write that. And I never do because it was in my mind. It was a thought that came out of my mouth, but I'm pretty sure you will be able to teach me how to put what's in my mind on a piece of paper that could very well free somebody else. So you definitely broke some strongholds with me just reading this book.
And that was good. I'm going to see if Chris and them, they were frozen. Chris, can you hear us? Chris.
They went, bro. They might need to unmute.
Yeah. Ryan, let's just keep it flowing, or does Gigi have something to say?
If they need to unmute. Oh, your granddad, if you need to unmute.
Okay. Ryan, what else did you have about the book? And I kind of think that it did not go through on the live, but what I'll do, I'll post it and people can get it from there. It's always something going on when we use this platform, and I'm not sure why it did not go live today. But Ryan, was there something else?
I mean, there's a lot. I I highlighted like I was taking notes in school.
Me too.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Although I've written a book and I know what that process is like, sitting down to read a book, like an actual paper book, I had to like sit myself down because I listen to audiobooks because I don't sit down. So, but really, I think one thing that people struggle with sometimes is he talked about getting rid of toxic people, whether it be friends or family. And I think sometimes people think because they're family that you have to tolerate whatever they give you. And as a human being, you have a choice and you can choose who to be around and who to not be around. You can love them from afar, but if they are depleting your energy, if they are taking away from your life, then you might need to get rid of them, family or not. And so I think it's important that he said that. And I don't know, what that stemmed from, but that spoke to me as well, because you just never know where the toxicity is coming from. And if you know where it's coming from and you've identified that, then why would you continue to succumb to that toxic energy? I believe in energy exchanges. For you to put that in the book, that's a statement that you probably went through that. I think it was very transparent. I've learned transparency really helps people. That authenticity. Like I said, I've known you for a long time, but I didn't know you. And I feel like this book was so informative, and I finally got to know who you are to a degree. And I think there's so much more that you have. And you talk about a workbook, Alicia. I'm just thinking about the many ways you can spin this, teaching how to heal properly from this particular event, being a military brat, and how that's affected your life, and moving, getting exposed to different cultures and people is one thing. However, there's also a drawback to that, because now you're moving so frequent that you can't really forge long relationships with people. So what does that look like? How do you deal with that? And I think that is so important that you shared some of those pieces in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So is Chris unmuted?
Yeah, I think what it is, they're texting and they say it's a lot of feedback, and then they wanted me to send the link. So we sent the link to them to see if they can try to pull it up on the phone.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So Vaz, what else would you have to say about your book? What was your favorite part to write?
It probably would be the tap and go. That was the favorite part for me to work. And the reason I say that is because that's what I've learned to do. I took that from a negative part and try to make it positive, because I always had to be on the move, with different schools or just moving, like Alicia was talking about me being a brother. It's because I lived there. I was there, Then I lived with my grandmother, which we call Mama. Then, it was my Aunt Brenda, my Uncle James. Then we moved to New York. We did these different things. So what I had to learn, and New Jersey. So it's like I'm always the new kid on the block. So I tried to learn to take that energy and make it into something better, instead of me feeling like I'm so left out. I wanted to try to control that. So I just choose who I'm around, Cassia Pearl, that I didn't want to put them in front of nobody, or that it really wasn't into who I am, or doing the things that I'm trying to do. So
Right.
I learned to just, stick and move, basically, tap and go.
Yeah, tap and go. I think everybody that read the book liked tap and go. Alicia, I thought she was gonna like run across the backyard and jump the fence when she read it. But we see the sea whales are back.
All right.
And sometimes you get a lot of static and stuff, and it happens all the time that sometimes it's easier to do it by phone than to do the computer. So we're asking you, he refers to you as what is that, the Panther?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, because he said that he's a cross between the panther and the eagle. And then can you find that about and I like what he said about you. Let me get to that. Which one is that? And Eric sat down and read the book as soon as they came out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
He started reading, I don't see it, but what's your favorite part of the book, Chris?
I actually like the metaphoric approach that he took to the book. I particularly like the part about being an eagle, because being an eagle allows you to see a whole lot more than you can see, as he put it, in the chicken coop. And
Wow.
and I think a lot of our views about things or how we see things is dependent upon where we stand.
Yes.
Where we stand sometimes can be forced on us, and sometimes we can be responsible for where we stand, but it does have a direct effect on what we see and how we see things. And I think he did a very good job of his approach to facing the things that he has experienced in life. And I think he did a very good job of putting that in print.
Thank
Mhm. Yes, that's well said.
you. Yeah.
Because he says that my dad is a realist. He's very logical. I said, that's Chris.
Yes, I try to be.
He said, I too have these king qualities. So with that father and the eagle together, it makes my killer instincts that much more discreet. I said, OMG,
Mm-hmm.
a panther and an eagle.
Right.
I like that. Where's Miss Ann?
I'm trying to.
Here she comes. We've had to switch some things around, but I think we're good now.
We're having technical difficulties, but we're trying to get it straight.
I think we have it because it says it's live, but I don't see it. So what I do when we're done, I'll just post this. I'll just take this and post it, and people can comment from that. But usually we're live and people are asking questions, and Boz is usually on the show whenever I have it. But I thought this book was well overdue because Boz always writes poetry, but I saw more in him than a poet.
As a writer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's a writer.
Right.
I started out as a poet, and I thought I was supposed to always write poetry. And now I've written 12 to 13 books as a writer, and writing comes easy for me, and it really comes easy for Boz.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Boz, what do you have to say about that? How you switched over the genre?
It was easy because it was always there. It wasn't. That's really what I wanted to do. But like we said before in the beginning, a lot of times I had to get away from being apologetic about what I write. So it was easier for me to hide. I think I was kind of hiding behind the poetry. Like the poetry's
Yeah.
still there, and I'm still gonna do poetry, but I wasn't so direct with what I was saying because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. You know, and I would see how people would maybe react from the things that I wrote, and sometimes even from the things that I would say, because I am the book, you know, so I live this. I talk this way all the time. Anybody that doesn't know me or anybody that's ever met me, this is how I am. So, you know, it's sometimes people get tired of that. So I had to put that on paper, especially this one behind me. This is my beautiful wife and my daughter. I read them to death, but I'm just saying, just talking, and I finally wanted to put it on paper.
And you know what? We go back to where you said, I am equipped now to write my way out of strongholds. As a writer, sometimes writers can put it on paper, but they can't say it.
Yeah.
And some people can't write their way out of strongholds because they can't write. They can't talk their way out of strongholds because they have problems interacting with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think you said you hid behind. We just brought somebody. Who's that, Crystal?
Yeah, we just switched computers.
Okay. We sometimes we can hide behind poetry because what I saw was growth between you writing poetry book. This grown man stuff you talk about in this book, these are things that can help somebody who sort of used to flow like you did. Because you remember sometimes your poetry was so dirty, it was hard to type it, but I did. And your mama did. You know, I'd get through writing your poetry and I'd be ready to cuss at church. But one thing I noticed about this, I want you all to know that everybody that touched this book, I published the book and I have a team of people. Every hand that this went through had something to say about it. Good. I don't want to hear nothing from the editor but her to edit his book. But she was saying, this is a great book. And the people that laid it out, they said the same thing. So Boz, you did a beautiful job on this book.
Thank you, man.
As you write,
you being there with me.
As you write, you're going to continue to see yourself mature into who you are supposed to be.
That's what I want.
I think also, Ms. G, you know, talk about the man, what does it take to build a man? And so generally as men, right, we're the priest, provider, protector, right? That's our role. And we get caught up in the grind and the hustle and making sure that we are able to provide. We don't focus on the total man, the total well-being of ourselves. So we chasing that paper is one thing, but you chasing that paper, you're not taking into account your health. You're gonna have all this money and not be around to enjoy it, or not have anybody around you to enjoy it. And so I think that was important too. You talk about like there's different stages of manhood, and I think that is super important to talk about the holistic man. You know, mental health, obviously, you talked about that too, is the hot topic right now. You know, I've been going to therapy for years, and I'm a huge advocate for talking to somebody. And it's not because you're crazy. It's just sometimes you need a sounding board or you need a different perspective on life. And so we touched on that, and then we talked about when you looked back. I gotta read it because I don't want to misquote it because it was so good. I highlighted it like 3 times. I think it bled through to the next page, honestly, because it spoke to me on so many levels. And you said, when I look back, time moves on. So I look forward and I move on. And I just thought that was impeccable. And I appreciate, like, again, your transparency. And again, I didn't know, I think it resonated with me so much because I feel somewhat like this on a consistent basis and have for so many years. Before fashion was cool in Charlotte, I was doing it and I was the weird guy and I was the outcast. And, you know, to know you have that same level of, I guess, outcast, it really spoke to me. And like I said, from knowing you all these years, I don't think I really knew you, but I think now this has given me an opportunity to really know who you are to a degree. And I would venture to say that when you hit the poetry in the book, I wanted to keep going. So I guess you need to publish a poetry book now because I need that too.
Yeah, he has 2 poetry books.
Yeah.
And I was revealing the eagle. This is the part I like. It said, when I move high above all the noise in this world, my talents and dreams take control. I was like, OMG, let me fall on the floor. Because we got to move high. Some people are not understanding what he's meaning by I am an eagle and I'm not a chicken. Chicken play in chicken stuff. Eagles fly high.
That's right.
And when you fly high, you ain't got time for mess on the ground.
No.
You don't have time for mess out of people. And sometimes as young people, you all don't grow because you're in mess. But an eagle ain't got no business in none of this mess. You see what I'm saying? Alicia.
Well, I feel like me and Ryan has used the same highlighter pen in this book because everything you have said, I'm like, well, let me flip that and talk about something else. It's one thing, the chapter called Delegate. That was everything to me because now that I'm grown, like we're 40 now, you have to use different tools. The tools we use as teenagers and young adults no longer work. The prayers we use as young people, they don't work anymore because we're living in a different time. We're living with different issues and different troubles. So where you said we have to meditate and delegate our own lives, I have been dealing with my roughest within the last year. So learning how to meditate and how to delegate has been everything to me. And even what Ryan said with the mental health, I've never seen a therapist. Now my therapist changed my life. I don't know life without a therapist now after 40. But when you say meditation trains the mind, that's true. And that's fair. You have to pray and meditate. We meditate on the word. And then from that word, you're able to discern what's going on around you. So then when you said on page 14, you said you must destroy spiritual warfare with the spirit. And then you said the invisible enemy has to be exposed. You can only do that through prayer. The enemy is only exposed in meditation. God will show you the enemy. He'll show you right, even if it's in your house. You can see it better, but you can only do that if you still enough, and meditation allows you to be still. And coming from a black man like yourself, from a rough exterior, from what the world has labeled you, to now putting in paper to know that you have such delicate tools, you have biblical tools on how to reach the Father in a way that makes it real in everybody else's life. Oh my goodness. Only an eagle could fly this high and be so self-aware about who you are, regardless of the labels people have put you of the boxes that people have put you in, even from childhood. To be so self-aware as a child, to understand that you were able to pick up so fast. You can learn math, you can learn science, but you also learn culture around you, which created the multiple personalities. I have never heard that from a grown man. I have never. We see the repercussions of that in men, where they don't know how to handle themselves or how to be a father and a husband at the same time. And it's because maybe they had to tap and go at the previous time and was not given the how to. So when I read this, I heard so much more. I saw so much more. And I was like, oh, Vaz, you can help so many men out here. And from your eagle story, from the height of an eagle, it's nothing less than to be respected. Nothing less. Crystal.
Oh,
Yes,
What you got to say?
I thought it was beautiful, and I'm just proud and happy that my brother has finally had an opportunity to, say the things that have been on his heart for so long. We've had several conversations, and we see each other eye to eye, always have, always will. And so I'm just happy that he was able to voice what he's been feeling, and not hold back from anything, no matter what he may think other people may feel, no matter how he thinks it'll affect someone else, because it's his story and it's what he needs to do for himself, to free himself, and so that he can fly like the eagle that he is. So I'm just happy for him. And, I read the book when I got home last night, and I was proud and I was happy. I say that again, I'm just happy for him. And, outside of the conversations that we've had, I read that book and it touched me in different ways as well, because I'm going through different things that people may not know about, and so his words touched me to be able to, tap into what's already been in you. You don't have to find it. You can meditate and, be still and find the word in what God has for you and move forward with it. Sometimes you're searching for different things, but it's been in you the whole time. And so you have to be able to find that and know that it's in you and just run with it. So
You're going to say something.
So again, me and my brother are on the same page, and I absolutely love it. And again, I'm happy for him.
Love you too.
Thank you, Crystal. That was so good. I think Chris was getting ready to say something.
well, I was just going to say that the thing that touched me the most about the book, by him being my son, there's some things I knew. There were some things that I didn't know, and there were other things that I didn't know to what extent that it went. And the book gave me an opportunity to reflect and go back, kind of to coordinate myself with some of the times that he spoke about in the book. But through it all, the thing that I'm most impressed with and that I saw in the book is that all of the things that were inside have now been confronted. They've all been put out there, and you were able to do that with the help of some, but mostly through yourself. And anything that may have kept you from moving forward should not keep you from moving forward anymore, because you already have met the demon. You've already kicked the demon in the butt. So all you got to do is just trust God and fly high. And I'm always here for you. And just be the person that you are. And don't worry about what somebody else thinks. Just be who you are. Think about how good you are. And believe in God, and don't worry about what other people think. Because as long as you feel good about yourself, you will always project good things to other people. Just be who you are.
That is so good, Chris.
Thank you.
Because we're like 50s babies. We're old school. Our parents weren't as open with us as we are with our children now. Because I'm the parent. I don't care what they telling me. And I've always told my children that. If you kill somebody, you better tell me first.
That's right.
So you get some help. So all parents are not like that. And sometimes we like it's stagnant. Their growth is like they can't grow because of how we perceive what they're going to tell us or what they're doing. And Vaz has always been one that was way above his years. And he talks about in the book how he was even moved up to another grade. And I told him, I was there. I've been there for Vaz ever since the day he was born. I've always shared him as my nephew and my son, even when my sister was alive, because we were raising our sons together as brothers. People thought they were brothers. We dressed them alike and everything. So, Chris, it was hard for me to read some things that I already knew. And like you said, you go back and look at that situation and you wish there was something you could have done then.
Right.
That's right. That's my
But he's at a point now, he's matured into this great eagle. And he deserves the title because some of the stuff was anger because he had written it. He wrote this book in portions. Some days he had written this maybe a while back when he was mad at the world, probably mad at you and me, everybody else. But he was man enough to go back in and correct it. Because his goal is to help, how we say each one, reach one, teach one. That's what Vaz is doing. And I would tell Vaz, you can't do it angry. Nobody wants to read a book full of anger and madness. He turned that thing around just like that because he got a revelation of who he is. He's an eagle. Ryan.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
I was just gonna say that, you mentioned wanting to help through certain times, but had potentially if someone else had reached in and helped, it would have messed up the process. And I don't think that he would have gotten to the place where he was supposed to be without the process. And it talked about page 13, in order to transform into a higher version of yourself, death has to occur on some level of your life.
Oh.
It represents a significant change, shift, or stance that you undergo as you evolve. And so if you don't experience some of those trials and tribulations that he talked about, some of those deaths, you may not have gotten to the level of where you are today. Even with where we are now with COVID, obviously we've lost, 500,000 people or more to the virus. And then there's also another side of people that are being super free and being able to, be lucrative during the pandemic. And so, but it's been a process for everybody, right? And so some of those things had to have happened, you know, and it's not that we wish them to happen to learn. And they talk about experience being the best teacher. I don't always agree with that, but sometimes you have to experience certain things because your experience and the things that you go through is going to be your testimony that's going to help someone else. And so, you know, for me, I always say that somebody is waiting on you to do what you're called to do. And until you do it, they're going to be stuck and the blood is going to be on your hands. And I think with you releasing this book, you're going to release someone else that's stuck, but they've been waiting on you to release the book. And now they can be free because you've done what you're supposed to do. So I just want to encourage you to, in that vein, to say, keep pushing, you know, whatever's next, let God continue to mold you and build you up to be this great eagle that you already are, and that people will begin to see that even more than they did before. So I appreciate, you know, being on today and having me get an exclusive copy. I'm really excited. I have an idea for you as well. So we'll definitely talk offline because I believe we can use you to tell a story to other men in Charlotte, specifically fathers that may be going through some challenges. I have some ideas. I'd love to connect with you, but I just want to say, you know, I'm proud of you, bro. It's good to see you. Thank you for allowing me in to a little bit of your world.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And I thank you for that, Ryan, because he's the founder of Black Fathers Rock, and they're doing a lot in the community. And before the pandemic, you know, they would have a fair, and it was like black tie nice. And I enjoyed going to it. And the Eagles Mate Forever on page 37, Vaz and Yolanda, they're still young, but they've been married. How long?
20.
20.
We've been together 21 years, but we've been married 18.
I remember the day you got married. And sometimes when you're young like that, people look like this not gonna work. This not, you know, even when me and Uncle Eric got married, we were 19. I've been married 47 years. And I think some people didn't see us being married, excuse me, past 2 weeks. But you know what? We're like eagles also, because when eagles mate, they mate forever. And that's another thing that proves that you are an eagle. You stick it out, you raise your kids, you teach them all that you know. My hat off to you, Yolanda. I honor you today.
Thank you.
Because Vaz will tell you he ain't easy to live with.
No, like I said, but it's something that you got to willing to go through if you want to be with that person, because you know he's his individual and I'm my individual, and then we bring all this mess together and we got to try to work it out.
Miss Gigi, what you got to say?
The only thing I have to say is I'm happy that he gets to write down stuff in this book, and I'm happy that people get to know what he was going through and his feelings throughout his lifetime. I'm just happy that he gets to write down his feelings in the book, and people get to see it throughout the whole life and the world.
The world, you better speak it for your daddy. Because he looks like I can't.
The world. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody that's reading this book, like his cousins, I'm thankful. Tyson was here from California, and Carlito and Alicia and Derek. They've all, you know, like, give me my copy. They actually read in this book. So sometimes we got to get out of the mindset when we think they may not support. You done had some support on this book, Vaz. Because we were standing out in the yard yesterday, and Tyson said, we got to support our cousin. We got to support our own. I said, I wish Vaz could have heard him say that.
Wow. Because
the support is here for you. And like Ryan said, I can see you and Ryan, I can see some things you can do. And he's the go-to person. He really, and you know that. He really is.
I appreciate it.
because this is not the only book. Because Tap and Go is another book that we need to go ahead and start pushing. And I know there's a section in the book about his mother. And I think even writing this book, it helped with some unhandled grief for him. Because I don't think he took the time to grieve correctly when she passed. And I can understand that because the same thing happened to me over and over. Sometimes people leave us and, you know, we have people say, get over it. You don't get over that. You don't talk about it every day and cry and wall on the ground. But that's why I always try to keep her memory alive. And I know that if she was here, she would be very proud of you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I know she would. And yeah, it helped. This book, it helped me connect more. I had to go back and kind of connect with it in the book. It was time. Time went fast. And like I appreciate the strong women I had in my life. Like this is my stepmother, but she doesn't treat me that way. You know, this has always been like this is my mother too.
Right.
Sitting beside my dad. Mom, you know, I just had strong, my aunties always took care of me like mothers too. You know, I needed people. So, you know, but what I was getting at, I had to go back and kind of connect with my mom to uh to grieve over it, to get over it. Because everything just happened so fast and seeing the way that she did it. I mean, my mom looked me in my face and said, you understand what's going on. This is how it was because we were like friends too. You know, you know what it is. I don't want to be here no more. So, you know, and I mean, it's like, wow. But you,
I said the devil, he can stop. Go ahead. It went out, but you back.
Oh yeah. I mean, just blunt. I mean, you know, son, I don't want to be here anymore. And you know, this is what it is. And we had our talk, and we did what we did. I remember just going like every day to visit her, and I'd be like, "Mom, on the way." She's like, "Mm-hmm." Like, you know, just let me go. You know, because every time she would see my face, it's gonna be more inspiration for her to want to be here. You know, and she was like, just kind of let me go. So what she was really telling me is, don't come see me, you know? And I mean, that's the reason she could be so blunt is because she knew I was prepared to take that. What I'm saying through the book is I had to figure out how strong I was myself.
Right.
You know, and so a lot of times I would take things in different ways. But like I said, I had a lot of strong women to help me with that. You know, I'm able to talk to my sister a lot of times. Me and Alicia, we don't talk as much as we did before, but we talk. It's always good. It's a real conversation, and that's what I look for in life through people. Like I don't have time to deal with nonsense. I mean, I'm not built that way, and now I have to realize that I'm going to be unapologetic about it. I've just been so apologetic, and the anger came from the fact that people would not understand. And I'm like, I come with love. I come in love, you know, but the response to that is not normal because people don't expect that love to come, you know, and especially from a black man or whatnot. But I wasn't taught. You got to understand, like all these different people I was around, none of you ever taught me to, you always taught me to love everybody, you know. So I was just taught to love everybody. So in doing that, sometimes people wouldn't understand, and then that real me would come out. You know, that's when sometimes I would, you know, that panther come out. You know, and it's okay. That's what I meant. Like I have to learn to control that part. You know, and then so you know, I just say, well, hey, let me fly away. You know, so you gotta be that eagle. You know, so it's a militant part that was also part of that was my mother as well. You know, she's militant too. You know, but having a father that way, a mother that way, I just kind of had to come into myself. A lot of times I would be too forgiving for other people. You know, and you just got to get what you get. You know.
Well, one thing I want to say, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to say that we honor you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I don't.
Oh, but we can't hear.
Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you stood in a gap. You did what you knew to do. But it's one thing about us as mothers, we know we can't be the birth mother if we're not.
That's right.
And I honor you for the role that you played, the gap that I know you stood in for all these years, and I know Vaz does too. I'm not even sure. Like I say, it says it's live. I almost think it was not supposed to be, because this is a very intimate setting. You see what?
With Vaz, not cutting you off, but with Vaz, from the first time that we met, it was easy. It was easy. And like you said, he's always been loving, and he was always and is very respectful. Always, never has treated me like a step. I've never called him step. He's always my son. From the time we first met to the time we got married until now, he's my son. I just didn't have him.
Right.
And as long as he makes me feel that way, he does. He makes me feel that way. So it's easy for me to be mother in the gap, because he'll only always have one biological mother.
Right.
But I can always be his earthly, worldly mother. I always.
And that's what I was saying. I honor you for that, because Vaz is easy to love, but if the truth be told, when he was little, sometimes it was hard not to love him, but he was a hot mess.
Oh, I know.
He was years old, speaking his mind like he was 6.
I know. And then putting it back on Yolanda, and Yolanda saying, you telling Yolanda that Vaz wasn't easy to live with. He got it honest. He got it honest. But we 36 years in now. I ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. We walk down the hall. But we still together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all good. You make it what you want it to be. Well, you know that.
Yeah. That's true.
It's easy. It's easy. No problems.
Does anybody else have anything to say before we close? Because I like this. I like having Ann and Chris on, and Vaz's family, and Ryan, and me and Alicia and Crystal, and my little Gigi that I love with all my heart. You know.
Thank you, Yolanda.
Yolanda.
Only thing I wanted to say is that from the beginning, I knew that both of us, we were supposed to be together, because both of us, we were damaged. Both together, like I say, we helped each other along the way. And like I say, when I got with Vaz, I had kids from my previous marriage, so I had to watch him become a man along with my boys. They grew up together. I sit there and watched them grow together and come up like kids. It was like they were my sons and Vaz were brothers. They came up, and he said I used to scold them the same way. And he said, and it wasn't that I was scolding him, it was just that was the way that I seen him, because he was still, to me, he was still growing up as a man, but he was still my man, but he was still and that's not how I looked at it. And I just knew that we were supposed to be together, because the way that our souls, it wasn't just us, it was how our souls interacted, and it was just like at different parts of the world when the world was chaos. Like I say, because when I met him, we brought 2000, and they were saying there was going to be a big thing coming in where we didn't know what was going to happen in 2000. And so we was together. I said, so if this gonna be it, I said, I guess we're gonna go out together.
Come on now.
And that's what we did at that point. And then different times we would have different points like that. And then, you know, he was there with me through all me losing my whole background. Only person he didn't lose me with me was my mom, because she was taken from me at an early age. And then that's what he said, that he wanted to write my story, because that's how I say I knew that both of us, I mean, we went through so much, but we were able to come through and make our union one big happy family. And then, you know, and sometimes it's not happy. It's not happy. And I don't want people to think that we don't go through things. And like I said, because he's him and I'm me. And then we got all these other different people that we're trying to bring in. And it makes it hard, but still doing the hard, we're still making it. Like I say, no one's giving up. And we never give up on each other.
I really am. I'm so proud of you and Vaz and the family. I seen the family grow and everything. And you married to an eagle. And what I'm going to do right now, you know, this show, it was in memory of Carol Tyson Colbert, just to remember her. And the other thing is Gervase's email is on the screen. And we thank you so much for all of the pre-orders that have shipped. He's shipping pre-orders. He's going to have to get more orders because he's selling these books. And Vaz, congratulations. You did it. Congratulations. And we will not forget the little Cash App people. I need you to send $15 to his Cash App if you want it shipped. You send $12 if, you know, we're going to hand it to you. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to end the show. And I thank Ryan Jarrell. I thank the Sewells. I thank Crystal and Vaz and his whole family. And what I want you to do, I'm going to end the show, but don't go anywhere. Just sit there. I'm talking to everybody that's on the broadcast, and I'm going to see you in a minute. Just sit still. Don't go anywhere. And this ends the Total Woman Show. Bye-bye. Get a mammogram. Save your own life and your own boobs.